We're going to talk about something today that can really impact your life, change it for the better. And if you're not dealing with this, there's a pretty good chance that somebody you know, a loved one, maybe a friend, family member is. And I'm talking about depression. There are four essential ways, four steps to get you through depression. He helps people with that all the time on the coaching side. And we're gonna dig into this a lot. I've talked about depression here on these podcasts before, anxiety as well. I believe we're going to get a lot of insight from Ken Lapp, and he's with us today. Great to have him here. Hey, Ken, how are you?
Very good, Steve. Good to be here.
It's great to have you here. Tell us about your practice, Global Life Skills, correct?
Yes, globallifeskills.com is the name of my website, and the name of my business is simply Ken Lapp Global Life Skills. So, sure. Uh,
And you've been
uh,
helping people with this, with depression for quite some time now.
yes, I have. I should just quickly say, I guess, can I tell a little bit about my story?
We're going to get
Or,
to that. So let's go there
okay,
now.
I'll let you lead. Yeah, sorry.
No, you know what? I believe that's very impactful. Talking about your story to illustrate how we got to where we are here and how you help people. So yeah, this whole journey for you, how did it begin?
Yeah, I was seriously depressed. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. I was seriously depressed for 35 years, but I got out of it with 25 years meditation. And along the way, I made so many mistakes and I learned what works in the real world and what doesn't. So I decided that I would be a good guide for people to help them avoid the mistakes I made and to let them know the action steps that are required to get out of depression. Anybody, I seriously believe anybody can get out of depression if they're willing to take action and if they know what to do.
When when you were dealing with it, did you know what it was?
You know, I had an unfortunate childhood. I grew up with PTSD, OCD, ADD, a lot of these things, and I didn't even know that I had these things for so many years. But gradually, when I started getting into it, when I started recovering, and after I recovered, and I decided I could help other people, I did a lot of research, and yeah, I found out that the things that I had recovered from are very common for people
Hmm.
that are depressed. So here I
Uh,
am.
Interestingly, back in the day, things like ADHD, on and on,
Yeah,
wasn't so common. It was, but we didn't talk about it or it wasn't diagnosed.
exactly.
Do you still deal with it?
You know, very good question. I, I say in everybody I talk to, my clients, and read on my website that I still do have unhappy times. I'm not perfect, but I've learned to get over them very quickly. And sure, I still have ADD. I have a little bit of OCD. I've recovered pretty well from my trauma, from my multiple traumas in childhood, but it is, it's something that never leaves you, OCD and ADD. But it's under control. I have much less than I had before, and I have learned how to live a great life.
So when we talk about meditation, excuse me,
Yeah.
does that work for you?
Meditation was the most influential factor in my recovery. Now, the reason, it took me so long to recover just because I did it alone, and the only way I recovered is with many years meditation. And meditation is about learning to control your thoughts, right? So when I learned to control my thoughts, it took me 25 years. But when you learn to control your thoughts, you can, our thoughts create our feelings and emotions. So when you learn to control your thoughts, you can get out of depression and learn, live a great life. And like I say, I learned how anybody, I believe, can get out of depression in a matter of months.
Wow. How would you describe, having been through it, for quite some time.
Yeah.
How do you describe depression?
For me, it was just like a physical sickness. When I could tell when I was starting to get depressed, I would feel it in my body, just sort of taking over my body. It was a very weird feeling, and I haven't felt that feeling for years, and I'm so happy about that. But depression, sometimes I would just feel like falling down on the ground and not get up. I felt like sometimes if the building I was in was burning to the ground, I wouldn't give a damn. I
Wow.
would, yeah. So, you know, depression is totally debilitating at times.
And I know we're going a little deep here and kind of putting the microscope on depression, which I think is a good thing because it's never done that often.
All right.
Would you feel it was coming? Would you in advance know, you know what? I feel like I'm going down that road again. Or was it just I'm here again?
A great question, Steve. In years past, when I was deep in the pit of despair, as they say, I sort of had a mild depression at all times, but I was a functional depressive. I could still, at times, I could still keep my business going. But because I worked at home, so I wouldn't have to deal with people. But anyway, and but gradually I learned to tell when it was coming. I guess not everybody hears their own thoughts in their heads like words, but I do.
Hmm.
And when I started to hear myself think these bad thoughts, I've learned to just say, wait a minute, don't do that. I say it to myself, right? Don't do that. Don't go there. I mean, if you get depressed, you won't get anything done. And I've got a lot of good things that I like to do. So I want to accomplish. I have some big goals.
I want to go to what you said a moment ago that you speak to yourself, you hear yourself. And I'm not talking about this in a negative way. Many times they say when somebody's evaluated mentally that, do you hear voices? And, that can be challenging for some, but did you hear voices in a, and I want to say in a positive way in that it was telling you that, I'm going down that road again. Not that the
No,
voices were telling you to do something bad.
no. When I say my thoughts, hearing my thoughts, it was my voice and it was my thoughts. And
Gotcha.
when I say I was talking to myself, I wasn't talking out loud. I just
Sure.
talked. I just had these thoughts in my head. Don't go there. And I started to distract myself with something I like to do or a positive memory from the past, that kind of thing. I've
Right.
learned, like I say, I still have unhappy times, but I've learned to be very resilient and
Sure.
get feeling good quickly again.
I'm trying to get into your head and
Ah,
learn because I
sure.
think it's fantastic and you have a great way of explaining it and getting to the point and making us easy to understand for all of us.
Thank you, Steve.
When you meditate,
Aha.
and I'm at work in progress over here. Um, are you thinking about something in particular, or some have told me if you're going to meditate, you have to have an intention. I was like, I don't know. I just lay in bed when I first wake up, and that's kind of when I meditate. I just lay there, and sometimes I fall asleep, which I don't think
Yeah.
is a bad thing. What's your protocol, your practice for meditation?
I'm so happy to talk about meditation, Steve. And I encourage all of my clients to do it. And some people say, "Oh, I can't meditate. I have all these thoughts." But I say that doesn't matter. Just try. Just sit. What I recommend to just sit quietly in a room sometime and sit up straight, back straight, and close your eyes. And the Buddhists talk about the Buddhist meditation. They focus on the breath. Just feel yourself breathing in, breathing out, and slowly. And that is a good thing to focus on mentally.
Does that get your mind off of all the thoughts going around?
It does. It does.
Okay.
And inevitably, you'll start to think about what you're going to have for lunch, or you need to do your laundry.
Sure.
You need to take your laundry in or whatever. And that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Just go back to thinking about your breath. That's all it is. Just do not beat yourself up. Be positive. That's, I hope I can talk about that. I hope we have time for that, because that's one of the most important things to talk about.
Well, I think we should even maybe look at a full podcast on meditation. I think that would be fantastic. Maybe even do a guided meditation for 5 minutes or whatever the case may be. I know we're going to talk with the 4 steps on getting out of depression, and also about the video course that you offer. As we're even talking about meditation, I struggle with it, but I can tell you the times where it was beneficial and it was truly fantastic. I can even think back almost 3 years ago, Easter. I was in between stops of just seeing some friends, etc.
Yeah.
I went to the harbor. We have water. I'm on Long Island. And I could tell you where I was parked. I could tell you the time of day. And I just started meditating in my car, and I actually fell asleep. And I woke up and I was like, whoa, all right. I feel like I have clarity. And I wish I could just, press the duplicate button every time on that, but every time is different. And even to your point that it's a skill, you need to practice at it. I talked with a Buddhist monk about a year ago, and I said to him, how long does it take you to get into a meditative, before I could even say state? He said 5 seconds, sometimes 2. I'm like, oh man. I wish.
Well, he's done it for many years, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like playing the piano. The more you do it, the better you get.
Yeah.
And one thing that I do is I focus on something. If I get tired of focusing on my breath, I focus on an image of a flower or something. And anytime I start to think of a negative thought, I just go back. I mean, even during my day, my regular day, I'm walking down the street or whatever, driving or something, So replace a negative thought with a positive thought or a positive image. That's one thing you can do.
And I'm glad you just said while you're driving or whatever it might be, because many of us get hung up on having to be in a quiet spot, a certain pose, certain breathing techniques, all of that. Go take a walk with your dog and just kind of think. You're meditating. You are meditating.
Anything can be meditation. I mean, doing the dishes, sweeping the floor. That's mindfulness. Mindfulness is just focusing on just what you're doing and thinking about what you're doing. And that's meditation.
Yeah.
So,
warm up.
Yeah. So anything can be a meditation, and you will benefit. The more you do it, the more you'll be able to control your thoughts, and your life just opens up. You'll have happy emotional feelings, and life can be great.
So we'll get back to that. Press the pause button on meditation.
Yeah.
4 steps to getting out of depression.
Great. Good.
Where do we begin?
So I have seen a lot of people talk about depression, and a lot of it is just vague generalities. So if you're looking for help getting out of depression, talk to somebody that gives you specific action steps. And these are the 4 action steps that I found are universal. Every depression is different. I'm sure you understand that, Steve. Everybody has their own lives. But they all have 4 basic things in common. The first thing you need to do is take responsibility for everything in your life. Now, some people get overwhelmed by that when they hear that. But it's easier when you try it. It's easier than you think. And it's easier than it sounds. And it is tremendously liberating. do that in your meditation. Just say, from now on, I'm responsible for everything, my feelings, my happiness, my finances, my diet, my weight, everything. Just commit yourself to that. So when you do that, something wonderful happens. You realize that you have the freedom to make your life any way you want it. The second action step is what we just talked about, is mindfulness. A lot of people don't understand that our thoughts do create our feelings and emotions. And if we had more time, I could prove it to you. But we need to control our thoughts to focus on the positive side of things. And people who do that, I mean, you have to work at it. It's a habit. You have to do that. But people who do that, they aren't living in a dream world. You know, the old half a glass of water. People who look at the positive side, they don't pretend it's full. They still know that all the negative things are in their life. They just pay more attention to the positive things. And your life is like a simple shelf on the wall. The more positive things you put on that shelf, pretty soon the negative things just fall off the side.
Yeah, there's no room for them.
That's exactly right. And you're living a happy, before you know it, you're living a happy life.
I want to look at one thing you just said in step number 2 is the thoughts that you have. Many of us don't realize that what we think becomes, and that, you know, that's a whole other topic there in manifestation. But what you think, if you're thinking negative thoughts all the time, your life's going to be crappy. There's no other way to put it. You're going down that road. That's just the way it works, because you're going to focus on that, and subconsciously you're going to make that happen. And I can give you proof too for another time.
Yeah. And the energy, you know, I think most people understand these days that even science says that everything is energy.
Yep.
And so our thoughts have energy too. And if we're putting out negative energy and negative thoughts all the time, we attract negative things to come into our life.
Sure.
If we can feel love, or if we can feel gratitude, very positive emotions, then we'll attract more positive things into our life. And that is the third step.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about anything to do with sex. I'm talking about the feeling of love for whatever. Just give it positive, favorable attention. Yeah. I mean, if you love a piece of chocolate cake, whatever, you know, then you just love it. So focus positive. And love is, you know, it's kind of a cliche these days, but it really is the most powerful level of energy in the world. So if you feel love, if you love walking in nature, or if you love having dinner with friends, or if you love a beautiful piece of Mozart music, or whatever, then that kind of feeling, when you feel positive feelings like love and gratitude, your body creates positive endorphins and chemicals that heal you and make you smarter and make you happier. When you think negative thoughts, your body creates harmful chemicals and endorphins that go throughout your body and make you sick, give you disease over the long term. So the next point is self-esteem. When you feel good about yourself, you feel better about everything in the world, everything around you. And a big part of self-esteem is having your personal power. And what I mean by personal power is that you don't let yourself be bullied. You just, I mean, you don't hit, this has nothing to do with violence. You just are strong. You just, you're in a place where I suppose you could be violent if you needed to protect yourself, but you have the power. And when you have that power, people know it. They can see it in your eyes. Mm-hmm. And so nobody will ever be able to bully you. Nobody, you start to live your own life. And when you're living your own life, when you feel peaceful in the world, because you know that you can handle anything that comes your way.
Yep.
When you have that kind of peace and calm, you can enjoy some of the greatest pleasures in life. Some of the greatest things in life can only come to you if you're calm and peaceful.
100 billion%. It really is true. I feel it, work in progress, like all of us. Yeah. But, I got to that point where I got it. Like, it's okay. I'm not going to worry about certain things anymore. I call it quiet calm. And it's funny you mentioned about bullying. I got bullied as a kid. Pretty impactful in my life moving forward in terms of self-worth and esteem and all of that. It took even in the last couple of years, I confronted it and took care of it. And just the other day, it's funny you even bring that up, Ken. Just the other day, I was in the car with my daughter who's 15, and we passed by my elementary school. I said, yeah, that's where I went to school. And I said, see that playground right there? And there's playground equipment right there. I said, that's where I got beat up a lot, right there. And I said to her, that will never happen again.
Yeah.
Because I've learned.
Good for you.
Not to let those things take you down. And you mentioned power. Maybe it would be impactful also to say, take back your power. Because if somebody has done you wrong and you're just, let's say a relationship, they didn't do the right thing. And now you're just angry and, it's just festering inside your head. Don't let it, because you're giving them your power. They already moved on. They don't really care. They're done. But you're sitting there like, well, look what they did. Can't do anything about it. Can't control somebody else. You can control yourself. You're allowing them to take your power. So just, you got to let it go. Easy? No, but you got to, and that comes, I guess, your self-esteem.
You got to work at it.
Yeah.
And that's part of responsibility. You're not responsible for all of the bad things in your life. We are. Nobody is. Sure. However, we are responsible for reacting to them, for dealing with them, and creating a good life anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that the fourth step? I know we're at
that was self-esteem was the fourth step. Yeah.
Gotcha. This is all part of what you help people with, coach them on, and teach them. And you have some videos available. Tell us about those.
I'm creating this course right now because I've talked to so many clients, and all of the clients I talk to, I say the same things. I mean, I don't say exactly the same thing, but there are certain basic things that I help all clients understand. And so that's what this course is about. It's about the 4 points we just talked about, but so much more. Like I say, every depression is different. And whether you're dealing with depression because you're isolated, or because you have chronic pain, or you were abused as a child, or, there are so many reasons. For every person who is depressed, there's a different reason to be depressed. And there's many different reasons that go together sometimes. So I cover these things in my video course. It's just being produced now. And actually, I'm asking for input from people who are depressed on what I should talk about in this course. So I believe it's going to be a course that people will enjoy.
Love the idea. And again, I want to go back to something I said even before we were only like 10 minutes in to this podcast, but you get to the point and it's very clear. And in my studying, in my journey, all the things you said, I've heard from other people, multitudes of people. You're one guy giving all of that to us, and now in a video as well, which I think is fantastic. When will the videos be completed?
As soon as I can. I think it'll be done in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
as soon as I can.
Gotcha.
But I want to make sure it has real value.
No, I got and thank you for that. And in the meantime, if somebody's going through depression, maybe they know somebody that needs some help. Are you available on a coaching level?
Absolutely. One-on-one or even in small groups. You know, a group that of people. Well, first of all, one-on-one coaching with somebody who you feel safe with somebody that you feel loves you and supports you, that's very powerful. But to be in a group of people that is supportive and you know they all care about you and you care about them, that can be very healing in itself. So I do both coaching in small groups and one-on-one coaching.
You've been through the journey. It took you time to find these things out. But your passion comes through very clear. And it's even on your website, because there's a section on your website where you make people available to call those in need. And that's fantastic.
Great.
Yeah.
Volunteering is one of the most powerful things you can do. It helps you in so many ways, but how are we doing for time?
We're out of time. Again, for another day. But yes, volunteering, helping others, giving of yourself, and also gratitude, expressing gratitude.
Think about others instead of yourself.
Yeah.
Get your thoughts off yourself. That can be very powerful.
Totally. And how you can love others. And I don't mean love them in a physical way, but just, and I learned this about 6 months ago, this phrase, and I think maybe it came from Shakespeare, not 100% sure, but it's love everyone, trust few, do the right thing. And when you think of it, you could walk into a Starbucks and just, pass somebody and just think a loving thought like, hey, I love your smile. And I wish you a great day, and send that energy. There's no reason why we can't do that.
And, doing the right thing, even when nobody will ever know.
Yeah.
That is something that builds your self-esteem, because
right. And when we say that, the right thing for the greater good, not necessarily just for yourself, because somebody say,
nice.
Ken,
go ahead.
What's your website?
GlobalLifeSkills.com.
Kudos to you for locking down that domain, because it says it all right there.
Great.
Yeah, Ken, great talking with you. Looking forward to learning more about the videos and a chance to maybe get together again and talk some more.
I'd be very happy to do that, Steve. And thank you so much. It's been a great 30 minutes.
Same here. Thank you so much. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.